What is up, y'all? It is your boy Arda, and today we're trying a new video series that I'm trying out, talking about TV shows that I've watched, a lot of times hate watch, but I'm here to talk about the first two seasons of The Last of Us TV series. Now, for those who have been watching this channel for a while, one of my first Let's Plays was The Last of Us Part 1 and 2. When I first started playing, I knew there was a TV show based on it. I kind of wanted to finish the games first before I started watching it, obviously to avoid spoilers and all that, and I really did enjoy the games, easily one of my favorites of all time. Ellie and Joel were great protagonists, complex characters, layers and all that. I liked Abby too. Once I had finished both games, I watched a few clips on YouTube from season 1, and my initial thought was, who the is that? And I had discussed it with my friends, and the first thing I said was, this looks bad. One of my friends told me it was good, one of the better video game adaptations out there, but I was a little skeptical because, again, did not look good. Fast forward about 10 months later and The Last of Us Season 2 drops, and granted, I obviously know the story and how it plays out, just like 95% of people who have watched the show. But I figured I might as well give it a shot now, give it a chance after all this time. I totally forgot it was a show for a few months. So we start off with Season 1, and let's go ahead and get this out the way. Like everyone else has stated a million times, Bella Ramsey is a terrible choice. But in season 1, from an acting standpoint, I actually thought she did pretty well as Ellie in season 1. Now maybe it was because she wasn't the lead compared to season 2, which we'll get to. But the whole season I was thinking to myself, she is getting way too much hate for this role. She really isn't doing that bad. Now Joel, who was played by Pedro Pascal, didn't look like video game Joel either, but he looks a lot more like Joel than Bella looks like Ellie. So he honestly carries this entire series. Not gonna lie to you. But as a character, we'll get to that as well. Season 1, episode 1, like they did in game, Joel and Sarah, birthdays and all that stuff. They race swapped Sarah, which isn't a problem, so don't come at me. It just seems like the writers did it just to do it. Not that it affects the show, but it's just something they randomly decided to do. Shout out to Joel though, I see you. I do like that with the TV adaptation, they give more info on the initial outbreak, which they didn't do too much of in the game, aside from a few lines. Outbreak stuff. Now Tommy's here, and then we get to the truck, and now we take off and try to flee the city. We get to the event, Sarah gets clipped, which makes Joel the way he is, you know the story. Now before I even started watching anything from the show, I genuinely thought that the show was going to be about Joel's Firefly days, which I was way off. Let's just skip ahead and talk about what I like and don't like about season 1. Joel and Ellie were pretty solid together. I feel like they had pretty good chemistry on screen. They definitely felt like Joel and Ellie in game 1 to me for the most part. There were a few bad parts, but you know, they captured, they got the idea. If you guys watch my part 1 series, you know how I feel about Tess.
I can buy you some time, but you have to run.
You want us to just leave you here?
Yes.
Yes.
No way that...
I will.
I'm gonna be honest.
Ellie,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean for this.
get a move on.
I could care less if she turns into one. She's been useless anyways. I'm sorry. I didn't like the Bill episode, not because of the homosexuality, but I just wanted him to keep Bill alive in the story. At least have him meet Joel and Ellie. It felt kind of random to dedicate an entire episode to a character who wasn't even alive. In the game, they ended up finding Bill's partner dead after being bit and offing himself, trying to get to the truck that Joel and Ellie use. I feel like they could have told that entire Bill background and all that in that episode, but have the conclusion that they had in game, with Bill still being alive. Then we get to Sam and Henry. Sam is deaf and mute, another random change. But again, not that big a deal, just some random choices they decided to make. I'm not saying video game adaptations got to be an exact one for one, but it's more of what they're choosing to change doesn't really add or help the story, in my opinion. Then Tommy and Joel reunite, finally, after Maria, who's also black now, had Ellie and Joel at gunpoint. They come into Jackson, y'all know the story. The Dave episode was probably the best episode of that season, not too many complaints there. There was also the episode with Ellie and her friend, but I didn't play that DLC, so I'll reserve my judgment for that. The finale was good, and throughout the season they were doing the story where Joel was feeling helpless at points. Once they tell him what has to happen to Ellie, he turns into John Wick. Overall, season 1 was good, going in the right trajectory. Things are good. Okay, I don't know what the went wrong when the writers were planning season 2, and season 2 is literally my inspiration for even making this video in the first place. I've never seen character assassination to this level in a TV show. The first couple episodes were fine. I like what they did with the Jackson community, giving us a look and how things work daily. Off rip, Bella's casting looked 10 times worse this season. Now, as the season went on, initially I was putting 70% of the blame on the writers because I, for the life of me, cannot understand why they wrote Ellie like this. By the end, I'm leaning more towards 60-40. But the character of Ellie is bad. It's a full 180 of who she is in the game. And then when you combine that with Ella's acting, Man, it felt like the writers had to change who Ellie is to fit Bella Ramsey's acting skills, to me. And for some reason, Ellie is just like stupid now. Now, Ellie has had her irrational and reckless moments in part 1 when she was a kid. And even then, she was leading combat. And what's really crazy is I didn't peep until the end of the season, but we barely saw TV Ellie get into any combat. Matter of fact, she got her ass kicked most of the time. Seeing Joel have to die again was heartbreaking, but in the TV show, they tried to assassinate Joel's character too much, which I don't know if the goal was to make viewers sympathize with Abby more than people did in the game, but I don't think it worked. It just made everyone more mad about the show's writing. Having Dina be there instead of Tommy was a weird choice too. There was a lot of minor changes that they made that ultimately didn't make any sense in the long run. But anyways, Joel is dead. And in the show, they have the community vote on if the whole town is going to slide for Joel or not after Ellie gives her speech and why she's pro-slide, and they hold a vote. Shout out to Seth, by the way. W redemption arc. But ultimately, the town votes no. Ellie plans on sliding anyways. Dina goes with. Seth gives them a rifle. W Seth. They never used a rifle one time, by the way. They actually, in the cover art, initially had Ellie with a rifle and then took it off. But like I said, I enjoyed the first couple episodes for the most part. Now, when Joel died, the viewership for the show dropped. And in the game, when Joel died, a lot of people stopped playing it. Personally, when Joel died, I was sad. I might have teared up a little bit, but I still kept playing. They make their way to Seattle, settle down in the theater as they do in the game. Mission here, mission there. Dina sees Ellie is bit and has to sleep with the gun pointed at her. Skipping ahead because I genuinely cannot remember anything in the middle, and I don't want this video to be too long. Then we get to the moment that I think turned everyone off this show. Dina reveals to Ellie that she's pregnant, and Ellie's immediate reaction is to send her dirt and fungus-filled fingers up Dina's. Now, me personally, if my future wife were to tell me that she's pregnant, my immediate reaction isn't to heat check. I just don't think that that's a natural human reaction. Also, shouldn't I get Dina infected? After some unhygienic lovemaking ends, instead of this being a serious moment where Ellie says,
I think I'm pregnant. I wasn't sure, okay? I didn't want to be a burden. Well, you're a burden now, aren't you?
you know, now you're a burden, yada, yada, yada. She goes,
I'm gonna be a dad.
Noah and I were talking about that episode. I like to run things past them all the time. And I was like, it just popped into me. I don't know why it felt right. It's not an expression of gender as much as a state of mind. Bella said, oh, no. Sometimes to have somebody say, oh, I don't mind it. You're looking for them to say, oh, no, I must. Yes, please let me do that. The joy that just burbles out of Bella when they say, it's...
oh man, that's not good writing. I don't know why they want Ellie to be so goofy when she's on this murder mission, which she doesn't even seem focused on. Like, why are you getting horny right now when you're supposed to be sliding for Joel? Now, to me, that's due to the script and Bella's acting. And for whatever reason, the writer of the show, Druckmann, or I forgot the other guy's name. Whoops, forgot to write that in the script. Oh well. And I don't want this video to be straight negativity. I'm trying to make it more of a comedy thing, but the season was not good. I think easily the best episode this season, which was a good episode. Of course, Joel comes back, and we get the flashback of him and Tommy's children, and Joel has a talk with their father after they both get in trouble. Their father explains to Joel why he raises him the way he does, why he doesn't want to hit him as hard as his dad hit him, yada, yada, yada. In the episode, we got to see Ellie grow up in the few years in between the games / seasons. So we saw a few birthdays. We saw Ellie getting a tattoo, discovering her sexuality. The cake scene bothered me. And Ellie riding Joel out about the therapist lady's husband. And Ellie's delivering telling Joel that she doesn't need his help.
I don't need your fucking help. I don't need your fucking help.
I don't need your fucking help.
Exposing the acting skills. Matter of fact, here's some positivity. The actor playing Dina, shout out to her. Because she's moving like 2018 LeBron carrying. Dina's more Ellie than Ellie. She's more driven to slide for Joel than Ellie, which I'm genuinely curious on how they're going to have that last scene where at the end of the game, Dina tries to stop Ellie from going after Abby again. I feel like the roles are going to get reversed. Oh yeah, and the scene with Nora and that whole kerfuffle was kind of...
Did I? The immune girl, you're real. Yeah. Really salad be. Don't you know what he did? I don't care.
Sure. I think this scene is the one where I started to give Bella a little bit more blame. And afterwards, she gets back to Dina and Jesse at the theater. And for some reason, she has scars all over her back despite getting into like no combat at all. But her face was fine for some reason. And instead of going with the simple, I made her talk, players get the idea, everybody knows what happens, she goes on this whole soliloquy of what happened and explain to Dina why the WLF went after Joel. I also want to talk about Jesse, who in the first few episodes, I did not like him. Not that much. And I wasn't feeling the acting. But as the season went on, even he got to outshine Bella Ramsey. Now, Jesse seems like the guy in charge after Tommy, or he's, getting groomed to be that next guy. But there's a scene in season 2 when Ellie and Jesse go looking for Tommy, and a WLF soldier has a Seraphite, and the Seraphite child's about to get murked. Let's just say that. And then Ellie, with no plan of attack, no strategy, 1 against 6, tries to stop him, and Jesse has to stop her. Then Ellie gets mad at Jesse for letting them die. And Jesse goes on about how he has to protect the community and be there for the future, be there for his child. And Ellie goes off. Keep in mind, Ellie was not rocking with Joel at all when he died, so fake love. Ellie literally has been laughing, joking, and this entire mission and decides now is the time to get mad. But Jesse has to be the voice of reason because for some reason the writers want Ellie to still be immature in season 2 despite her being an adult. Even child Ellie was more mature in this. Ellie also snitched on herself by revealing that Dina was pregnant to Jesse, so Jesse made it a point that if Dina can die, he can die because he has to be a father. Ellie can't be the only dad. But while on the mission, they get a radio call from a WLF soldier saying that there's a sniper and all that. Jesse's like, let's go save Tommy. Ellie's like, she's in the aquarium because there's a Ferris wheel and all that. And Jesse is like, okay, what about Tommy? Ellie goes, we don't even know if that's Tommy. So basically, this was the only time Ellie was actually focused on revenge. Ellie found a boat, then on the way to the aquarium, she gets wiped out by a wave and washes up on Seraphite shores, where she gets face to face with a kid Seraphite, in which he tries to kill her. Some of those Seraphites pull up, string her up, and the kid does a slash thing across the stomach as Ellie's begging for her life. But if you played the game, you know day 3 is the WLF and Scar War. So horn sounds, they ditch Ellie, even though it would have taken 5 seconds to do what they were going to do. But whatever. Ellie escapes, finds a boat, and heads to the aquarium. At first, I thought the whole island thing was unnecessary. But I came across a TikTok saying that Ellie finding a boat gives Abby an excuse to not have an escape off the island once we get there in season 3. Because that's her boat. So we'll see. We'll see. Ellie arrives at the aquarium. Pretty sure Alice, the dog, wasn't there. So I'll assume she's not in the show. But she runs into Mel and Owen, and the character assassination continues. In game, Ellie does the point to the map thing, you point to the map, and they better match up. Stuff that Joel taught her. Owen isn't going for it, so Ellie do what she do. Now in a TV show, they don't even let her do that. They take everything that makes Ellie a badass and undo it in the show. Ellie gets scared when Owen reaches for a gun and then just fires. One of the 3 times she fired a gun, by the way. And kills Owen. And I guess somehow the bullet went through Owen and hit Mel. Grazed Mel's neck, and then she's bleeding out. And then she wants Ellie to get a knife and cut her baby out. Mel is pregnant, by the way. Really uncomfortable scene, but like not the worst idea, I guess you could say. It just would have been better if they executed the, murder part like they did in game, in my opinion. Jesse and Tommy find Ellie. They head back to the theater. Y'all know how it goes. Bye-bye, Jesse. Abby is here, and she got Tommy pinned down, and whew, what is this? What is this ending? What is this?
I let you live. And you wasted it.
That about sums up this season. Game Ellie was the Seattle Grim Reaper, while TV Ellie is just not. Thank God this season is over. There's a problem with a lot of shows and stretching things out too much. I feel like the whole part 2 should have just been 1 season. And since in the beginning of this season, unlike the game where initially we didn't know Abby's motivations, why she was hunting Joel in the first place, they told us immediately, episode 1. And they could have honestly just bounced back and forth between Ellie and Abby through all 3 days during the season, since we already know her motivation. And a lot of people that are watching the show have played the game. I think it would have just saved Ellie a little bit, not having to be the main character, especially with her limited acting skills and just poorly written character. But that's just me. But let's talk about Abby a bit. I don't think her casting is bad. I feel like she looks enough like Abby to not throw you off like Bella does for Ellie. She actually looks more like Ellie than Bella does, which is crazy. In the short amount of time that we got to see her, I feel like she did a solid job. I seen a clip of the writer of the show talking about casting her, and when he asked the creator of the game why Abby was built the way she was, she was swole, which the creator of the game basically said he wanted Abby's gameplay and combat to feel different from Ellie, which makes sense, right? Also makes sense story-wise. Why did the writers just say that's not going to work for me, brother, and then say he doesn't need to do that since it's a TV show and not a game? No, because Abby wasn't swole before her dad died. The pain from her dad being killed and her motivation to kill Joel and all that training with the WLF got her to that. It's part of the story, but whatever, man. Hopefully Kayla Endeavor can revive the show next season, so good luck to her for real. For all we know, that scene with Abby and Owen is probably going to happen when Abby finds Owen's body at this rate. But that's how I feel about The Last of Us TV show. It's fall from grace. I can say that. If y'all enjoyed this video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. I already got another TV series I got in mind. So if this does well, definitely be on the lookout for that.
We all feeling Billy.
Leave me alone!